When did you get into skateboarding?
Um, when I was a little kid, probably 8 years old, my best friend got a Black Knight, which was the skateboard of the day. And he died from leukemia. And after that, that skateboard was just what we were into, and it kind of just set me off. And from that day on, I used to play all sports.
Mm-hmm.
And none of them mattered anymore.
It just didn't feel right.
Yeah, just all went to skateboarding. Even though my whole life before that was football and baseball and whatnot, it just became skateboarding only.
Mm-hmm.
And then my parents started a company called Vert, and the rest is history. It kind of just went on and on.
Veriflex was huge.
It got big for a while there. Mm-hmm. Yes, it did. I think it still is, to be honest with you. People just don't know. If you go into most of the places now, it actually comes from Veriflex. In the beginning, you go into most of the big box stores, you look at the brands, you trace it down, it'll trace down to Veriflex. So it's still around, really. People just don't know.
It's just a little bit hidden.
Like everything else is today. You know, all these sub-companies of companies and whatnot.
Yeah.
America. Veriflex started off as a really good company. Well, I shouldn't say that. My uncle and my dad started it together, and my cousin and my brother and myself and whatnot. And my uncle, he was all about big box stores, Walmart and Kmart and such. Where, you know, my dad, he was one that went to Boulder Boards, who made the best boards at the time. And that's where all the pro boards were made, and everything was really good. Creative urethane wheels. They make Santa Cruz now, and a lot. I mean, they make good wheels, you know. Creative always had some of my favorite formulas, to be honest with you. And things got really good. They were the first ones to use urethane for the bushings in the trucks. They used to be made of rubber, like tire rubber.
Mm-hmm.
My dad figured out, my uncle actually figured out to use them to make them of urethane instead of rubber, and now everybody uses
urethane. Yeah,
that's how Veriflex got a bigger client share quickly, because they were the first one to have it. Everybody had to get it from them, so the whole world bought urethane bushings from Veriflex basically at one time, and their client base got real big real fast.
Tell us about the era of skateboarding that you came from. What was it really like?
When I got into it, skateboarding kind of was on a downfall publicly. So because it wasn't so popular, the money was fading. You couldn't, you know, parks were all going out of business, getting sued. Everything changed really fast, and it just became a smaller community, very much a smaller community. And if you were hardcore and all about it, then you were embraced into it. And you didn't have to be the winner. You didn't have to be special. You just have to do it and choose it. And that's it became all of our lives just to survive doing it. You had to commit quite a bit. Where nowadays it's easier to just survive almost like a job as a skater, where back then it was much more.
Yeah.
You had to be. It wasn't a choice. So it was growing quickly as far as the tricks and the ability of skating, but the market there was no money or opportunity. And what money and opportunity that did exist at the time was extremely controlled by the few people that were there in the first wave. And once that first wave completely dissolved, it was a free-for-all. And that's when basically the Thrasher era began. I mean, it went from skateboarder to Thrasher. It went from Surfer magazine publications and being acceptable and clean cut to, you know, whatever you want. I had a company called LSD, you know, it went on and on and on to where you could do whatever you wanted to do. SMP, Limpies, it goes on and on.
Speaking of LSD, what made you guys want to pick that name?
My roommate came up with that. And I think that was because my family did me so wrong with Veriflex and in my life, basically, at that point, that people just wanted to find any way to fight back and rebel. And then when he drew this little flower with some peace signs in the petal and put LSD in the middle, and that was it. And we drew it with a marker on a board. I went to a contest and got fourth, and it became a company.
That's sick.
It was that fast. And, you know, it's weird is because you have to work whatever jobs you can get to survive during those moments. And then when you do get another chance and start to go for it, you just kind of embrace it a lot more. It changes the game. When it goes away and you have to earn it back, it changes everything.
Who are some of the influences that pushed your progress in skateboarding?
That's such an endless list.
Well, I'm sure there's a
And
lot.
it doesn't end. That list never ends, and it shouldn't ever end. From the beginning, you know, my neighbors hanging out, to my brother, to, you know, my dad giving me the opportunity to. The first pro contest I ever saw was at Lakewood, and I was a little guy, so I'm looking between the banners, and I see Mickey Alba bust this big front set air in my face, and he's younger than me, and I'm 12 or whatever, you know, and I'm just watching Mickey.
You're just stoked on
Yeah, that just lit me up big time for sure. That lit me up. From then, I went from hanging out at a little bowl park that was just banks to chasing parks with vert and pools and legit skateboarding. That changed everything for me. But it's endless. You know, I was lucky. I grew up with good people around me, like, you know, Eddie Elguera, Eric Grisham. There's so many of them. There's no way I could get to them all. But Veriflex had I think, the best bunch of people. And that's kind of what I did LSD too. When LSD came up, it was much more about the team. It wasn't about who's going to win the contest. It was about who do you want to travel with?
Yeah.
You know,
And that's what really matters.
yeah.
You know,
I think
you
that
want people you can travel with.
and that's what it was. It was my favorite group of people to be with at the time. You know,
Yeah.
let's do this. Unfortunately, some of the others were busy, like Reese was tied up in other things. But it's something you only get to do for a period of time during this life that we get. And, you know, it's something that needs to be valued correctly. I don't think that I had the proper opportunity and mindset, and it took me too long to figure that out. And that was my failure. But the influences around me from, you know, Jay Adams would treat me great, and yet, you know, even Dwayne Peters treats me good. People that were supposed to hate me growing up are people that I value and embrace in my life, you know, so I don't know. Everybody's an influence. Everywhere you go, you know, everything I see, everything's an influence. Companies that, you know, I looked up to growing up. But it helped me quickly realize that the more threat you are, and the better you're doing, the more resistance you will get. And the more aggressive that resistance will become.
Yeah. They're only acting that way because they see you as a threat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what made me understand that I was actually moving forward.
And that's a good thing.
Yeah, it was. It motivated me even more.
True. I've even dealt with people like that, and it's a motivator a lot of times.
Yeah, you know, I could either choose to participate in that nonsense or just step over it.
Yeah, exactly. Be the better person.
Or just use it as fuel.
Yep.
You know, tighten your game. And that's kind of what happened with me. And then being the Veribot at the factory, I had to try everything out. So I'd have to try every brand of truck, every brand of wheel, every board. And that had its moments that was fun, but other moments where you wanted to be out skating and doing your thing, and you have to go and
try out some.
You have to go to work.
Thing.
Yeah, basically. And then a lot of it sucked, and you'd have to write it anyways, even though it was shitty.
Yeah.
And then I remember one day they made me try on some inline roller skates, and I laughed and threw them at them, and I go, "This is the stupidest thing in the world."
Why would they make you try them out? You're a skateboarder.
Exactly.
Go
But
find
they don't
an
know
inline
that.
skater.
They made everything. Verflex makes tennis rackets.
Yeah,
They make
all kinds of
everything.
stuff.
Pop-up canopies and
Yeah.
trampolines. But when they decided to do the inline skates, I just absolutely ridiculed them for it. But they made a ton of money selling those things. So I guess the joke was on me. In the end, though, had they embraced what we were doing, especially when we had me, Lance, Grosso, Lucero, we had such a good team on the second generation even, still. And they just didn't value it at all, It was weird. I didn't understand how they didn't realize that skateboarding was gonna grow and become what it is today, and it still isn't done growing, as we all see.
Oh, for sure not.
And I remember telling them skateboarding's gonna be the Olympics, and they just ridiculed me and belittled me. And had they just embraced some of that and kept a company going and kept Verflex on the map doing what they did, I still think that they would be a major player, if not the player of today.
Yeah.
They just didn't value it.
Why do you think they didn't value it enough?
They truly didn't care. They just saw money. I think that my family valued money more than people, and they would get lost in the path of money. And instead of realizing what they had and what was happening on the streets and in reality, they just focused on what money they could make on that day.
They were pretty much just blinded by the money.
I'm very corporate minded.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be a corporate kid, and I just didn't fit.
You're a skateboarder.
Yeah, and nothing changes that.
Yeah.
Once you are, you are. It doesn't go away. No matter how broken you get or how old you get, all you want to do is that. That's your happiest place. So that doesn't change ever. So be ready for that. When you get older, you're just going to want to get that knee fixed so you can go out for more, man.
Yeah.
It never ends. I've had, 17 surgeries total, 5 knee surgeries alone.
Jeez.
It never ends. You know what I'm saying? It never stops, man. I got a metal collarbone right now as we sit here.
Damn. That's gnarly.
That's what it is.
How'd that one happen?
Stupidity, a drunken night, and being dumb, doing a video. Gutter mouth. What up, Mark? But I broke my collarbone, and then just being stupid, skating in the rain and the plywood in this backyard thing. And then next thing I know, the doctors did the wrong thing at the hospital and tore the artery going into my lung. And I had what's called a pulmonary embolism. Pulmonary embolism, that's what they did. And I had to be on these blood thinners for years. And they put this metal plate on my collarbone and took part of my hip and made me a new collarbone.
Jeez.
And yeah, because one of the screws went into something called the brachial plexus that screws with your left side, they've been afraid to take the screw out. But my hand and leg still works.
Well, at least it works.
Yeah, I'm still going. But yeah, back surgeries, just too many, man. I still need too many more. Not all from skating, though. Lots from other things in life, car accidents. And
yeah.
The spine injury from the car accident was the game changer.
Oh, I can imagine.
That everything else could be fixed, rehabbed out. And the spine injury didn't go away, man. That one still hurts. I have no idea what tricks I actually invented.
Yeah.
Or it all happened at the same time everywhere in different places with lack of media too. So many times when you think you were inventing a new trick and committed, you open your mind to something you'd never seen, you figured out how to do it, you learn how to do it, and then all of a sudden you'll see a picture of someone else doing it. And or hear about somebody else somewhere else. Or it just never ended. Seems like people are always inventing the same tricks in different places at the same time.
Yeah.
And there wasn't social media.
It wasn't social media, so
nobody knew.
Yeah, nobody knew who really did it first.
Yeah.
You're just kind of guessing.
Yeah, until you see 50 people doing it and nobody knows where it started. And that was common.
I'm sure people argued over that one a lot.
And I was just never comfortable with naming a trick after myself. Other people started naming tricks after me, and I couldn't stop that. But I always felt like having a trick named after myself was awkward. I don't know. It just made me feel awkward.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So yeah, everybody invented everything, right? It's endless.
Yeah.
You were the first dude to do ollie to fakie, man.
That I know of.
That we know of.
You know, there's a bunch of little things like that. Lean to tails, fake ollie foot plants.
Fakie ollie foot plant.
Well,
We
Nick
were
Hughes
talking
was
about that
first
shit
dancer.
earlier. That's a crazy trick.
I think I was the first one to do a backside ollie with the modern technique on cement. I saw someone do it on a fiberglass, on a actually plexiglass ramp.
Oh, wow.
This dude, Joe at Riverside, I can't remember his last name right now. It's killing me. Gonzalez, I think. There was a skate park in Riverside called Sierra Wave that was indoor. That was just plexiglass clear ramps.
I wonder why they used to make them out of that.
Yeah, they were really slippery.
Oh, yeah.
And
I've skated like a plexiglass ramp once. They're slick as hell.
I've seen people step right through them too.
Yeah.
They weren't falling, just step right through it. Like glass cuts you and shit.
Mm-hmm.
But that Joe dude would push on the ramp and use the flex of the ramp to pop it off. And I watched him doing it. Where Jeff Tatum would just kick the board out, and sometimes he'd land on it, and sometimes he wouldn't. It was pretty gnarly. Watching Jeff Tatum, who was the first one I saw do a backside ollie, but the way he did him was so inconsistent and dangerous, you know? And then when I saw this Joe guy doing him, I was like, all right, I get it. So then I realized I could just scoop it up and do it like a regular ollie. Frontside ollie's already around by then. So I kind of figured it out, and I think I was the first one to do that. I don't know. There's so many tricks over the years. There's so much to it. Just like the Mike Smith grind, right? The Smith grind, for instance, Smith did Smith stops. Then I saw Shreddy Repus and Polar Bear, and these dudes do these massive stand-up grinds at Marina back in the day, and where they would run out of speed. And when they would run out of speed, the board would just kind of fall over and hit the lip a bit on the way in, and they would even stop there and pose it for a minute and take it in. It was pretty gnarly. But they weren't throwing it into a Smith lock and traveling, and which I get credit for being the first one to do that too, I guess. But I'll always vote for them to be called a Smith grind because I'm a big Mike Smith fan. And because he's one of my heroes too, I'll always hope that I'll always be called a Smith grind. And then what they call the Losi grind now is the nose pit grind. And that was something that we started when LSD was being thought up. We had a mini ramp in our yard, so I just started to learn to skate without going backwards, right? Back then, everybody would, if you're regular foot, you'd go backwards and fakie.
Yeah.
And I was like, nah, you know what? I'm just going to go the other way. Fuck going backwards.
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of started working on that. And then the nose pit grind was part of that. Funnest way for me was to alley-oop it, because alley-ooping it,
That's sick.
you can just not rotate your shoulders and really lock it in.
Yeah.
Just travel a bit.
Yeah. No,
That's the way to do it.
that sounds like almost easier.
It is easier.
Because like the way you're going into it, your body's just naturally going to go that way.
It is. It's easier. The hardest ones for me were the going up extensions.
Oh, wow.
I do them up extensions all the time.
Like from the small to the big.
Correct.
That's sick.
Yeah.
That's so sick.
But back then, that was just what we did. You know, nowadays, that would be, you'd lose points for shit like that now. I'm amazed by how.
I think is personally stupid.
Yeah.
If somebody saw that, I would be more impressed if somebody did that onto an extension than just another stupid 540.
I'm a firm believer of the all-around guy. You know, I see these dudes that go really high and twist a lot, and they can barely do a grind.
Yeah, it's so true.
It kind of boggles my brain how
It's sick when you could do both with style.
a skater is a skater. There's no category. There's no limit. If you categorize yourself, you limit yourself, you know, and that's just less fun. period. You say you don't want to hit that sweet curb in front of you, slap that curb because you don't street skate or what, it's just stupid.
That shit's dumb.
Yeah.
What really came first, music or skateboarding? Or both?
Oh, definitely skateboarding. Yeah, music was just something I did on occasion with friends, and I ended up buying a drum set as a kid. Pounded on them a bit until I moved out and had, it's hard to find somewhere to put your drums together and play drums. And you have to live somewhere with
space.
Correct, yeah. People get pissed.
Yeah.
And, I just goofed around with friends, basically, honestly, it wasn't until after the 2005, 6, 7 in there, really 9, I guess 2009, that I started to, pick up a guitar and apply myself. I was the drummer back in the old band, and now I'm a guitar player. And it's just something I applied myself starting in 2009, really a little bit, and getting into it more and more. And then with all the surgeries, and I have this nightmare thing they call complex regional pain syndrome. And sometimes I'll be stuck in bed for, I think the longest time I couldn't walk was 30 months and 11 days.
Jeez.
That one took a minute, but there's just windows where I'm stuck, so I would start looking at YouTube, learning from YouTube.
And just learn how to play stuff on guitar?
On YouTube, yeah. Everything's come from YouTube. And my friend Eddie Petrel, mad love. And Miss Perry Cole, miss you, dude. Ray Bones was one of the people that got me started playing guitar. Ray Bones is a ripping guitar player. I think everybody would go to a lot of shows, and most of us would pick up instruments and try to jam with each other when we were hanging out or whatever, but to actually get into it and build songs and albums, and that's a different story altogether. That's different. And that's kind of where I'm at now. I've applied myself in that way a lot differently. Trying to play bigger shows or whatever. Just trying to do, period. Just want to do. I'm game to go. Whatever it is, I'm game. And that's kind of how music grew for me, was just being, and it's happening still, it never ends, like skateboarding, to where it's not just a trend thing, it's what you're into. You enjoy doing big airs for a while, and then after you might get tired of that for a bit, and you get into the stand-up grinds or
And it's the same with music too.
Yeah, exactly.
You might want to play punk one day, and the next day you want to play something else.
And then every guitar has a different tone, which makes it to where you can play different things differently. So then you want a variety of guitars to play these old songs when you're playing along with your old albums. And it's fun. It's endless. It's just endless. And that I think that's the main thing that music has provided for me, is a way to fill all that time and do all these things that to keep my mind going and keep me occupied and satisfied while I couldn't do anything else. And then it just kind of kept growing. But yeah, music was definitely second.
Yeah. What do you think you like more, guitar or drums?
That's a tough question.
Hard to pick, huh?
If I had somewhere to have drums all the time and play drums with a sound system to where I could learn and stuff, I'd probably be more into that, to be honest with you. But I don't have that. So I can put headphones on and play guitar in my room without bugging my roommate.
Yeah.
And that's
just more convenient.
That's where I'm at. I don't have the electric drum set and room for it. And maybe someday I will. But at the moment I don't. So for now it's guitar. But I like drums. I think drums are fun.
I've tried drums. I suck at it.
Me too.
I'm a bass player. I play bass a little bit.
Cool.
I play a little guitar, but
I don't play anything. I just kind of struggle my way through,
Yeah,
I just kind of shake the song out of it the best I can. Whatever it is, I just kind of make it work. My favorite guys are the guys that just they mash it. They're not even holding a chord. They just mash the strings and get these great tones out of the thing. There's this dude, Dave Wronski at Fender. That dude's amazing. The tones and sounds he gets out of a guitar, and it looks like he's not even playing a chord. It's mind-boggling.
No, it's always interesting to watch the way different people play.
Yeah, especially when they got that fire and that flow, and
Yeah.
they're not just pattern guy, which is great. You know, I'm not. You know, I'm no shredder.
Me either.
But and those dudes are amazing. But to watch somebody that has the true personal flair is awesome. That's good shit. I think the band is called the Slack Tones. Check out the Slack Tones.
What genre is it, like?
Surf music, kind of.
Oh, like surf punk kind of stuff?
No,
not punk at all.
I think it's the original drummer of Agent Orange too. That
really?
Dusty dude, yeah. And it's the guitar
I love
player.
Agent Orange.
Well, their very first drummer became really good. And he jams with the Slack Tones and this Dave Ronsky dude. And they're worth checking out, man. They only play a couple times a year, but if you see them, if they still play, they're worth seeing.
Well, hopefully they make their way down to SD sometime.
Well, wherever they're playing, you should go. Even if it's not SD, you get there,
Just
man.
go.
Yeah, just go, because it won't happen. It's something you just got. If you see it, go. Don't miss it, period. Wherever it is, however it is.
So, would you like to talk about One Less Zero?
One Less Zero. All right. I guess it was 2009. I was hanging out with some friends, and we decided we were going to start a band. And it was just a few of us at the time. And we decided we were going to use the Big O skate park logo, which was from Orange, California in the early 80s, I think. Big O was one of my favorite parks growing up. We're going to call the band One Big Zero. And we stole the Big O logo, and we just put a 1 in front of it. It was One Big Zero. And a girl answered our ad on Craigslist, became the singer. And she really could sing good, too. Kind of blew my mind on Craigslist.
That's so random.
Of all places. Yeah. And it turns out she was the reigning Miss Supercross at the time, too, which was kind of cool. And then we ended up changing some band members, and there was some legal issues, so we had to change the name. And when the name change came, we figured we'd just call it One Less Zero. Because, you know, I don't know, not really a stab at anybody, I guess, just looking for another way to use the name that worked. And that worked, so it became One Less Zero. And our drummer is the cousin of the drummer of NoFX. Our lead guitarist is one of the best builders in the custom shop at Fender.
Oh, wow.
Our bass player is one of the better cabinet makers you'll ever meet in your life. Dude's a woodworking fanatic, genius dude. Our singer was Miss Supercross, but she met and married Trey Cool from Green Day. Now they have a child together, and they're still married. And that's how One Less Zero became what it is now. And we've just stayed together, and they stuck with me through all the years of health trouble, you know. And yeah, we're still hanging out. Kind of blows my mind sometimes what it takes to keep a band going. Kind of, it's not as easy as people think. It's not just, oh, we're gonna hit the road and it's all magic and rainbows, you know.
No, there's ups and downs everywhere.
There's real life.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's real life gets involved. Getting married, having kids, having back surgery, not walking, you know, there's so many different things over the years. But yeah, I really enjoy being a part of it. And I'm grateful for all of it, for sure. And I hope that we have much more ahead. I never really know. I guess I just try to roll with every day as it is. And that's one of those things that is my current happy place, I guess is the way to put it. That's the only place where I'm really at rest, at peace, you know. When you go through a lot of trauma in your life, PTSD is a real thing, man. When you go through a lot of trauma, it changes everything. Every time you sleep, every time you wake, everything's just different. And you'll never be in that little pocket of happiness until you go out and find it. And then once you find it, you got to earn your way to be there over and over again. It's not like it becomes automatic. You have to grind your way into that little comfort spot, and then you're comfortable for those moments. So that's my place of comfort and happiness. And it doesn't matter if we're making songs or playing shows, it's just kind of doing it, you know? It's kind of like just having a good session. When you drive home from a good session, you're thinking about what you're going to do the next time you go. And that's what music has given to me, right?
Yeah.
It's got me motivated to the point where I'm already thinking about what's going to be in the next song. Just driving home from practice rather than, I don't know. But, you know, a good skate session has the same thing. And that's the only way I can explain it. You drive home thinking about what you're going to do.
That's a good way to explain it.
It's reality, right? I mean,
so true.
On the way home, you're thinking about, okay, if I would have just had my weight a little more forward,
would have landed that.
Yeah, next time I'm going to have the confidence to just pull that knee in and it's all good to go. But yeah, your mind's already going there. It's good shit.
For sure. So from what I know and what you said, you've done a lot with, you know, touring with skateboarding and music and stuff. What's some of the craziest shit you've seen? Just something that's like almost, you know, out of pocket.
Would have to be when Gator's ass jumped off that crane in Germany and hooked his neck on the fence. I'll never forget it, man.
Jesus.
We had been through a long night and I was angry and he'd stolen my bike and we were drunk. And I finally got back to the hotel and there was some construction out in front of the hotel and they had these crazy metal fences around it. And at the top of the fences, they had these, I mean, there were metal spikes coming out as big as our finger around, turning in, and they're going to
suck.
Sharp at the top. Well, he and I were going to fight because, you know, whatever. Me and him and me and Schneer had to get in a fight at a bar that night because this shit Gator started and ran away from. So we come back angry. And he stole my bike afterwards. Now I had to find a way home after he stole my bike, getting me in a bad situation. So I run up to the hotel. I'm all yelling at him. And he comes to jump off the crane because we're about to box. And he catches that fence and it hooks his arm and it's hanging him by the arm.
Ooh.
So he has to pull himself up and slide his arm off the spike.
Like it impaled in his skin.
It's impaled and hanging him.
That's
so he pulls
gnarly.
himself up and slides his arm off. And let's go. And it catches his neck. And he's going to do the same on his neck. And his jugular vein was shooting from here. I've never seen.
How did he survive?
That's why when I see, because a few of us instantly applied pressure and called an ambulance. And it was a big ordeal. Yeah. It wasn't a real simple thing.
If it went a little deeper, you probably would have died.
The amount of blood that comes out of somebody when they rip their jugular at it is beyond what a movie does.
Oh,
it's
for sure.
Just so much. And it comes out so fast and it shoots so far. I think that's what blew that's the craziest thing I ever saw. How far his blood was shooting from his neck. It's the craziest thing I ever saw.
That's some crazy shit.
You know, it's crazy. So yeah, that's probably the winner.
That's gnarly. That's so gnarly, dude. Oh my God.
Fucker deserved. No, just kidding.
He did. Hey, he did. I even ran up and punched him in the ambulance once because I was still mad at him. I was drunk. I couldn't let go of the anger.
Gators today are a lot less likely to actually push you to change your etiquette compared to your generation where you did something wrong, you got hit. What would you have to say about that?
All right, I got to tell a story. This has to begin with a story. When I was a little 12-year-old, 13-year-old kid, and I was coming up, you know, I had my first cover of Thrasher when I was, I think, 13, whatever, young, very young. And so Veriflex was getting big, and I went to a contest in Winchester, and it was a Hester contest, and I was an amateur that got to skate with the pros, and you had to pay the pro entry fee, but you couldn't get paid. Your payment would go to the next guy down. And so
that's crazy.
Yeah, that's how they did it. And so I drove up there, and I could only get out of school. I couldn't get out of school, I remember. I had to go up after school Friday night, and I only had a few practice runs on Friday night, and I tried to snake really hard to get practice.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
That's what I thought,
Yeah.
you know. Well, Salva and Dwayne threw me on the ground, held me on my back, twisted my nipple, held it, and twisted it again. And they taught me real quick that if you're not going to be respectful, you're going to get twitted, you know, you're going to get punished in some way or another. And for me that night, it was a titty twister. But at the same time, they also welcomed me into the skate culture at that time, that particular night, during that moment.
That was just your entry fee.
That was kind of my initiation, you know, it really was. They call it hazing or whatever. And,
Yeah.
But my initiation was a swollen nipple and being taught to always be respectful of the people around you, no matter what your predicament is.
Yeah.
Right? Because I figured my situation, they've been here all week practicing.
I'm just gonna go whenever.
I'm gonna charge. Yeah. And they were just like, no. You have to keep respect.
Yeah.
And that was a lesson I needed, as well as being initiated into the family. And from that day on, I learned more and more skate etiquette. And had been taught many times, we all know it never ends. Learning never ends.
Oh, for sure not.
If you think you're done learning, well, then you got...
Just go somewhere else.
Yeah, you're ignorant.
It's always a little different.
Yeah.
You know, wherever you go.
And today's world, I think that because of, that's how we call it, uneducated money being pumped into the industry. You have families and others that are coming in here that not only aren't being taught those lessons, but they give no shit about it. In their mind, it's just onto their personal, not only desire of the day, but they may even have dreams of making millions of dollars and being the next Ryan Sheckler or whatever, whoever it is that their mind logged into. Generations can go on and on, you know. I guess what I'm saying is that the people who do know what time it is will always rise above. The people that do learn those lessons and develop in those ways will always be not to say the word better, because it's how do you compete and judge one person over another is kind of stupid in a way. It's always kind of about who's getting the money and opportunity of trend in that sense. But I guess it'll always be the people that have it really going on and have their personal peace and live strong instead of, you know, being a tag along. Is that I don't know how to explain it. But the ones that don't have that desire to be an actual legit cultural part of it, they'll fade away anyway.
Oh, for sure. You're not going to stick around forever.
They may have a bunch of followers for a minute, but they have no relevance, you know. They're not Muska. Muska's legit. I don't know if
Oh, for sure.
people... I've heard it all different ways, but
Dude,
yeah.
Musk is sick.
Got mad.
The Muska flip, dude.
Yeah?
The Muska flip.
You know, he came out at a time where he could have not given two shits about anybody, and he chose to give shits about everybody. And I mad respect that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, it's
Think about it.
ridiculous.
Yeah, imagine what's going to happen when you're my age, man. You're going to look at skate
I'm going
and
to look at it like, what is this?
Yeah, it's going to be
Dude, it's probably going to be like robots doing 540s.
It'll just be it'll be unrecognizable to where my age grew up for sure. The way it is now is already so far beyond. I can't imagine what's next. My mind can't get it. It can't.
It's just going to get crazier and crazier.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, that freaking you saw that building drop in?
Yeah.
What was that Brazilian guy's name? Do you remember?
Sandro,
yeah.
That was pretty awesome, huh?
That was mind-blowing.
Like,
dude, he dropped it on a freaking building.
It's so fast.
Like, who would have thought that would have been possible?
Yeah. Well, back in the day, too, we had a big dam in the valley. I remember Val surf dudes would skate it. And it was a pretty big rolling for then, to where you go pretty fast on a shitty little skateboard back
Screw
then.
that.
So I look at what Sandro did, and it's like, okay, that almost makes sense. And it's, you know, like, it's progressed, absolutely. And he's a stud, that dude.
That dude's gnarly.
He's always been so, he always went so big. From the first time I saw him, I was like, who is this guy? He went so big. Oh, like Lincoln Ueda. First time I saw him, it's like, God, what are we supposed to do? These kids go so huge.
Yeah, dude. Lincoln's 6.
Well, he kills the imaginary wall technique.
Yeah.
As good as anybody. I'm sure he told you about it, or somebody.
Yeah, I think he did. For everything.
I didn't understand the imaginary wall growing up. I'd always try to pull off, you know. And then I think it was even watching Krishna Soy that made me realize, wait, he just kind of keeps going up. Like there's still a wall, and grabs his board later. Like he's still going up the wall. He's not jumping off the wall. Mm-hmm. And that's when I realized, just keep going up the wall. Even if it's not there, just keep going. Then I started going bigger.
Yeah.
Different way to do it. And those techniques have never will end the progress of the, you know, skating. And just to watch people jump, like when Scheckler broke his ass jumping that massive, was it a Costco thing or somewhere, giant stair
that
over the rails, and but in our day we would have never imagined a human could absorb it. No. And now people do this shit. Now people
can just, everybody be doing that.
It's crazy to me. It's crazy. So yeah, who knows what's next? Bionic knee braces will make it through. But yeah, who knows? Who knows? Knee braces. A lot of these little guys, it seems like
the little guys that go super high.
It seems like, honestly, though, that they do have a little bit of a advantage with inertia, or whatever you call it, G-forces, or I don't know. They shred, all of them, you know.
So what advice would you give to people trying to come up in skateboarding, music, or just any aspect of creativity in life?
I would say just choose to do it. Feed on it, because it's not forever. In fact, you never know when a car accident or whatever is going to change your life completely. And perhaps the thing that you're so into that rewards you so much could be taken away. There's always more to do. There's always another thing you can get into and choose to feed on. It's up to you to keep choosing that whole life fire, you know. But the number one thing I would say is to value it and feed on it. Don't take it for granted. Don't just walk through the motions. Get yours, you know, as well as being respectful and dignified and treating others how you want to be treated. But make sure you feed and live it, experience it. Don't let it just fly by. That's what I'd say.
I would totally agree. You cannot take everything for granted, and you definitely got to just be a good person.
Oh, it all comes full circle. Whether we accept it and admit it to ourselves or not, energy is real, and it comes full circle.
Yeah, what you put out there will come back.
Yeah, yeah. You ask for it, you might get it.
You ask and shall receive.
Yeah. So no matter what, I think that people have to face that reality in the end. As you get older, it just comes full circle. But yeah, there's too many people, I think, in this world that just kind of do what they need to do or what they feel they should do, and there's more to life. There's such a fire, like that good session that lights you up when you're driving home, and your mind is so ready to go back. You know, you want to eat, sleep, everything you're going to do from the moment you're driving home until you're back is going to focus on when you go back. So how you take care of yourself, how you ice and prep and stretch or whatever it is, it's all about getting back.
And getting back there in one piece.
Well, yeah, but as you're driving home, your mind is thinking, okay, if I just put my heel a little bit more off edge, then I'll catch that board clean and stick it down. where you didn't make it that day, and you're driving home thinking about it. Well, now when you go back the next time, your mental progress is already grown. So you have not only a better chance of doing it, but at the same time, you're going to commit everything to going back. You're going to go to bed early instead of go drink or whatever, There's just so many different things. You're going to eat better, take your vitamins, or ice your swollen ankle instead of just not caring that day. This motivates you more.
That is so true, dude. When I really want a trick and I don't land it, I notice myself wanting to go to bed earlier, just thinking about it, so I can prepare myself for the next day.
You want to be strong.
I want to be ready.
Yeah, that's right.
I twisted my ankle on that. I need to ice it or do something so I can put some CBD on it so I can come back the next day and actually land the trick.
You'll have a much better chance for sure,
Yeah.
And if you don't commit and feed on it and really do it, then later on you look back and go, wow, if I just would have chosen
If you just would have just stuck with it.
Yeah, if I just would have chosen to do it. Yeah, that's what I see in the world. And that's what I think skating gives to people like yourself. For instance, you get a chance to actually not only accomplish things, but, get that, I guess you call it a high, but it's energy. It really is. It's an energy that you learn to feed on, or you don't. But obviously you've learned to feed on it.
Oh, yeah.
But I see a lot of people in our culture that don't. And, when they get older, they're going to regret that. If they make it, to the old thing. Listen to old people, because there's a reason they got to be old in the first place, man. They're smarter. They got old. The dumber people didn't make it.
Yeah.
Thank
you for coming out.
Thanks for having me, man. It's such an honor to be a part of it all. So I say I had to bring at least a little something for it,
Yeah, dude.